All right, man. Cheers. All right, cheers.
I was a good boy and didn't drink this before the episode.
Nice. Well,
I
this is good. This is refreshing.
Yeah.
Ichiban ninki no. What is this one? This is Nanakamba. Oh, I had such a hard time reading this right here. Nanakamba.
Dude, that doesn't even look like kanji.
7-crowned horse. Junmai Ginjo Ichiban ninki.
Okay.
I like this. Yeah, this is let's see. So this is from Shimane. Thank you. And this was given to us by Mitsuko-san. You know, it's funny because this was actually we're filming this in March, and this was bottled in January. So I can kind of like, normally the alcohol taste is stronger, but this is kind of like it's chilling a bit.
Yeah, you know what's kind of interesting about this is it feels like it's cold,
but it's not.
But it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, I didn't put this in the fridge at all, and so you're right. It feels cold, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, man. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mitsuko, for sharing this.
Yeah.
And I hope you'll enjoy our topic today too. If anybody wants to like get this sake, you can find it in the description of this video.
Yes.
Or this recording that we're doing. But Austin, what are we going to be talking about today?
Movies.
So one thing I was really surprised was how popular our book episode was.
You know, I don't want to say like our episodes are duds.
Yeah.
Right? But if ever there was going to be a dud episode, I thought it was going to be the book one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I thought, like, who wants to know what books this guy likes? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but what I thought was funny, and I should have seen this ahead of time, was all the crap we got for Anne of Green Gables and how we don't like Anne of Green Gables.
No, my opinion of that has not changed.
I know, but it's funny because Anne of Green Gables is such like an institution in Japan.
It is.
That's like saying Back to the Future is bad.
It is. It's no.
Why? Why?
No.
Why?
Because Back to the Future is fun. There's nothing fun in Anne of Green Gables. It's like, hey, here's a story about a little girl who lives on a farm. She falls in a lake and gets a fever and feeds some horses.
I think
end of story.
I think there's also people like the anime about it too. You know,
I haven't seen the anime.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. if you have this much vitriol against the book, no. But it's just funny how it's like there's some things from foreign countries that just get held in Japan. Like one of them is Anne of Green Gables. Another one is Back to the Future. Everybody loves Back to the Future.
Yeah. You know another one?
Yeah.
Home Alone.
Well, Home Alone's also really big in the United States too, right?
Is it still?
Maybe not as much.
I mean,
as
maybe you're right. They're making another Home Alone movie. You know that?
Yeah, I mean,
where it's like Kevin is the dad now.
Really? Oh, Macaulay Culkin is the dad?
Well, I don't know if it's actually. It might be Macaulay Culkin playing the dad.
Yeah.
But I know the character Kevin is the dad now.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
That is. I don't know. I've only seen 1 and 2. I don't want to see the other ones.
Dude, I'm okay. So this last Christmas, so my family and I watch Home Alone every year.
Okay. It's like a Christmas movie in America.
Well, no, I mean my family in Japan.
Oh, your family in Japan,
like
you watch.
my wife and I, but my daughter now too.
Yeah.
We watch Home Alone every year.
Yeah.
Right? And so last year I only watched 1 and 2.
Okay.
But this year it's just like, hey, you know what? Let's just watch all of them.
Okay.
There's 5.
Yeah, there's 5 of them. Yeah.
There's 5. 3 is okay.
Yeah.
Like it still has kind of like the same plot as Home Alone. It kind of fits. It's a new kid and it's a little bit stupider.
Yeah.
I know that's not technical good English, but
it's stupider.
It is stupider.
More stupid.
That's the label that I would put.
So stupid is 2 syllables, so you can still put an ER on it. It feels fine. That's how I learned it. Because if it's a short word, you can add on it.
Yeah.
If it's too long, you can't add Like you can't say, oh, you're much more loquacious. You're loquaciouser than I am. You can't say that. It's too long. Isn't that how you learned that?
I don't know if that's right.
Well, I mean, come on. You've said funner before.
Yeah, funner's also not right.
I know it's not right, but people say it though because it's so short.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Anyways, we're not here to discuss grammar. We're here to talk about these dumb movies. So
Home Alone.
So like number 3 is not bad. Like, it still has the plot of like a kid's home alone and bad guys are trying to get into his house and he rigs the house and bad guys get hurt, right?
Yeah.
And everyone laughs.
Yeah.
All right. Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, they jumped the shark on that one.
Yeah? What happened? I'm not going to watch it. You can spoil it.
Okay. I don't know if many
Spoiler
people get
alert,
that jump the shark
netabare.
reference, actually.
I don't even know what that reference is. I know jump the gun. I don't know jump the shark.
It was
Are you
Fonzie.
Oh, he says jump the shark?
No, but the like one of the episodes is like he kept doing crazier stuff, and then one episode he actually like was water skiing and jumped over a shark.
Oh, that's what that means?
And so jump the shark is kind of like you've peaked.
Okay.
And like you've gone too ridiculous.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Jumping over a shark on a water skiing is like, come on.
Okay.
You know
Thank
what I
you,
mean?
English teacher Austin. I learned a new phrase today.
How did you not know this? It's such an
Dude,
old term.
I'm such a
Our
weird kid.
grandparents use that term.
I was born in Germany. I lived there till I was 8, and then I had no friends.
Your dad
So-
would probably understand that.
Maybe. Well, I mean, it is from our dad's generation.
Definitely.
But anyways, 4.
So, okay. So 4 is like this alternate universe where it's like Kevin is a completely different person.
I have a question.
Okay.
So in Home Alone 3, because it's a different child actor, is his name still Kevin?
No,
Okay.
he's a completely different kid.
Okay.
This universe has a guy who's like literally the worst father ever.
Okay.
And like not in an abusive way, but in like you just suck at being a dad.
Yeah, he just forgets a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he forgets stuff. He like ignores his kid a lot. And then this is supposed to be the Kevin as an adult.
Yeah.
And he's divorced and a loser. But he's engaged to a princess from England.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Just
Jumped
roll
the-
with it.
he just
We're
jumped
not
the
done
shark.
here.
Okay.
Right? And
We're not done yet.
The main character is this kid who's living with his mom, who's divorced from Kevin. So he's a McAllister, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But
Kevin McAllister.
to give you a little bit of lore, this whole episode is going to turn into Home Alone.
Okay.
But to give you a little bit of lore, like the McAllister family's super rich, right?
Yeah, right.
Kevin's dad's supposed to be this big shot lawyer.
Yeah.
They have this giant house in Chicago. They're multimillionaires.
Yeah.
But not in this universe. They're dirt poor and living in some crappy suburban like house, right?
Okay.
And so the whole story is going over to Kevin McAllister's mansion because he's engaged to the Princess of England.
Mm-hmm.
And inside the mansion, there's like a maid and a butler,
Mhm.
and the butler's got like all these surveillance cameras and
Yeah.
everything. And the kid's in there. And then the 2 bad guys from the original movies are in there, but they're different actors that look nothing like the original actors.
They're different actors,
They're
right?
completely different actors,
Yeah.
right? And they're trying to break into this place, and it's like, first of all, the kid's not alone.
Yeah.
Second of all, like, you can't just replace people like that and expect people to be okay with this.
Yeah.
But so the story goes, and like the end of the story, it ends up that the princess is actually an evil, like not nice woman, and
An evil, not nice woman. I like that.
no, but like I really have to dumb my English down to really fit the narrative of this story.
Evil, not nice woman.
Right?
Can there be an evil, nice woman?
Yeah. So, but she's an evil, not nice woman.
Okay.
And like, so bad stuff happens to her, even though she didn't really do anything in the movie.
Okay.
It just, at the end of the movie, it's like, oh yeah, you suck. I'm going to get back with my original wife.
Okay.
And the movie ends.
What?
And so this is, now you understand the feeling that I had after watching this movie.
I'm more confused just listening. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was super confusing.
Okay.
So that movie sucked. And then the next movie was like more of a return to form, where it's like you have this guy who's like, he has this doll, and this kid takes the doll while like visiting their house. I think they're getting ready to move. And the guy finds out this doll is actually worth like $250,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he can't find the doll. And finally he realizes the kid took the doll.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy's the main character in this story, not the kid. And it's just him trying to get the doll back from the kid. And the kid rigs all these traps, but it's like there's no bad guys in the story.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just feel sorry for this guy.
Yeah, I know, because he's trying to get his doll
like
back.
He's
that the
trying to
kid
get
stole.
something this kid legitimately just stole, right? He's not a bad person. And he's getting like seriously injured throughout the movie. And he's like getting arrested by the police and all these bad things. And it's like at the end of the movie, I mean, everything turns out okay, but you just feel sorry for the guy. And it's like, what? Am I supposed to be like, is this guy supposed to be the bad guy? What's going on here, man? So yeah, there's 2 Home Alone movies.
There's 2 good ones.
Maybe if you want to watch the third one, it's not bad.
Yeah. But then 4 and 5, just get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you talk about that because maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm an old fart in my heart. I'm only 33, but in my heart, I know I'm an old person.
Yeah.
But I just think the quality of writing in movies nowadays is just going down the tubes. It's like so bad. Like so it's so funny because like I see this especially in Disney movies. So you know, one of our Austin and Arthur Friends members, they asked like, oh, do we have movie night with our friends? What movies with our kids? What movies do we watch with our kids?
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, I have Disney Plus. I watch mainly Disney movies with my son. And, you know, the thing is actually there are a lot of really great themes in Disney movies that really teach kids about life. Like, it's so funny because before I had kids, when I would think about Disney movies, I used to think, oh, they're so shallow. It's all about a princess getting saved by a prince. But a lot of them, they talk about like death and family relationships and growing up. And so they're actually really good lessons for my son. But what you can do is, like, I really feel like writing started to tank around 2016. I would think.
Yeah.
And if
I think noticeably.
Yeah. So, but what's funny is all of like the really great major like Disney movies were pre-2016. So like you look at Moana, you look at Frozen.
Is that pre-2016?
I think Moana was 2015 or it was 2016. But another one that you can see is Wreck-It Ralph.
I love that movie.
So the first one is great. Have you seen the second one?
Yeah.
I know. There was themes of like Ralph becomes this clingy kind of loser guy.
Yeah.
And it's all about like, it's funny because it's like they're trying to share this message of like men are stupid or something, but there's no like deeper message. And when hearing you talk about the Home Alone things, it's like people are looking at the tropes and the images and they're not actually thinking about the story and the development, you know? Yeah. So like people are asking us like, what kind of English movies do we like? And for me, I feel like movies are kind of split into 2 categories. You have one that's like entertainment. You have other ones that are art. And I tend to gravitate towards movies that are more like artistic. And someone explained kind of the difference between entertainment and art to me is that entertainment helps you feel better, but art changes you somehow. Like you're different because you have experienced that. And so I really like movies that make me think or reflect about life. And actually, Disney movies do that because they talk about these deep meanings.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because we kind of live in an age where people are really anti-stereotype.
Yeah.
And anti like fitting into a box, which I guess is stereotyping too, but a little bit more direct. But I actually don't think stereotyping is inherently a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to give a really good example. So in kind of like these old timey movies, and I guess we're just
old timey is like how long ago?
Old timey is in probably not made in the past 10 to 15 years.
Okay.
I would say that kind of starts to fall into the realm of like old timey
2010 or before.
Yeah. So like when we're talking about like a generation back, right? That's kind of where I start thinking movies become old timey, right? And one of these things about old timey movies, and especially with Disney's movies, is they don't draw upon like contemporary themes.
Yeah.
So what do I mean by that? So like I'll give you a really good example. A lot of Disney movies nowadays revolve around like gender identity.
Yeah.
And in just identity in general. Yeah. And that's a really hot topic right now, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people are talking about gender identity. So it's like, it's a movie that's really easy to understand. But I think as time goes by, like 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, I think it's not really going to hold like the same message that maybe the people who made the movie originally intended, right? Because people are going to look at that and they're just going to be like, look at these idiots trying to talk about this. Like we finished this conversation decades ago and we're on to another thing. But like the old Disney movies, they didn't have like a contemporary theme. The theme was about honor, like Lion King, for example, right? I'm restoring my family's honor. I'm avenging my father. That's a timeless thing. Right? You can watch that movie 100 years from now and the people are going to watch Lion King and be like, I get it. This makes sense. This is good.
Well, you know what's funny? You talk about that because I was gonna mention this, but actually the basic story of the Lion King,
it's Hamlet,
Shakespeare's Hamlet, exactly.
Sorry to ruin you.
You stole my thunder. What's going on?
I taught a whole well, we call them modules, but like a period, like a chunk of the year in my advanced English class about this.
Well, you know, the funny thing too is like if we talk about cinema, we talk about movies. One of the most what's the most famous Japanese director that you've heard of?
I mean, I would have to go with Miyazaki.
Oh, Miyazaki. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know any like the classic ones?
No.
Okay. Because I would say like the most famous Japanese director, other than maybe Hayao Miyazaki now, is Akira Kurosawa. He did the Seven Samurai.
Okay. I feel bad. I know of his name.
Yeah. He did the Seven Samurai, which was then adapted to the Magnificent Seven in the States. But he also, in his movies, he adapted Shakespeare and all these other kind of like old novels that are from Europe from like hundreds of years ago. And he adapted them to Japanese. But yeah, it's like these themes that just never change.
You know, I'm really glad that you mentioned like samurai films and Western. So my wife loves samurai films.
Okay.
Loves it.
Okay.
Like every time it's her turn to pick out a movie, we always watch some like either old samurai movie or like a newer adaptation of it, right? And
like what's a movie that she really likes? Because I want to find a good samurai movie to show my dad.
Oh my god, it starts with a K. It's about
Kenshin?
10. No, but we did watch all the Kenshin movies, which I actually really enjoyed. God, I'd have to ask her.
Okay, you can ask her later.
I'll tell you the story though. It's about 10 samurai.
Okay.
Right? And maybe Makombi knows it. But it's about 10 samurai basically, and they're all trying to gather these like magic orbs to fight like this powerful like onyo, like a demon.
Yeah.
Right? Do you know this story?
Hey guys, if you've watched this far, you're going to love our Austin and Arthur friends.
In the Austin and Arthur Friends, you're going to really improve your English listening, and I mean a lot.
Yeah. So for each episode, you'll get English and Japanese subtitles, so you can check your listening and comprehension.
You'll also get access to a members-only community where you can talk with us, the both of us. Mainly me, right?
No, definitely not. For more info, click on the link here or here or here, or in the description box of this video.
Thanks for being our friend.
Woo!
I have no friends. No.
I think if you knew the name, you would know it, because this is like a really, really old story. And so the movie was about the guy who wrote the story.
Okay.
And as he's writing the story, it's going through his normal life, which he grew up in like the 1800s.
Yeah.
Was that Edo period?
Yeah, early 1800s is Edo period. Yeah.
So it's him, but as he's writing the story, like the other half of the movie is like this fantasy world where the story's taking place. And it was a really entertaining film, right? But the premise of the story is you have all these short stories of these like famous samurai that are hunting down and trying to get these magic orbs and like defeating like smaller demons. And then they all group up together and they fight this like really powerful demon that's like trying to take over Japan.
Dude, I'm sorry. This sounds like Dragon Ball to me.
I mean, honestly, Dragon Ball might be inspired
to fight a big demon.
But no, but so, okay. So anyways, here's the premise, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching this movie and as I'm watching it and the end of the movie, they're fighting in this castle. They're fighting like all these evil samurai and like demons and stuff. And like a number of them die. And like as they're climbing the levels of this castle, more and more of them die until there's just this one guy left.
Yeah.
And finally he like summons all the power and like defeats this demon, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm watching this, I'm like just thinking about cowboy movies because it's like this is like exactly what a cowboy movie is, right?
The final
and it's like
showdown.
So it's like most cowboy movies, you have like a group of these like rough, rugged men from like various backgrounds. Some of them are criminals, some of them are lawmen, some of them are old soldiers.
Yeah.
You have like the foreign guys, like Mexican and Chinese guy shows up, and there's like this big bad boss man who's controlling the town, and like they get in this big shootout. Basically, Magnificent Seven,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But they get in this big shootout, and one by one, these guys are dying heroic deaths.
Yeah.
Right? Until there's like one or two of these guys left, and they finally shoot and kill the guy, and then they like ride off into the sunset, right?
Right.
And it's like, man, samurai films and cowboy films are exactly the same.
Yeah. You know, actually, I was thinking about, I wanted to talk about this on a different episode, but, you know, because I really got enamored with like Edo period culture in Japan.
You know, it's funny because I love cowboy movies.
Really? Okay.
So I'm like the exact similar taste, exact opposite.
Okay. Different countries.
Side, yeah.
Different countries. But I think I could share that at a different episode. But I'm kind of curious to hear from you because our tastes are very different. But what are some movies that you really like that have been impactful for you? Well, first tell me, what kind of movies do you tend to like to watch?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a really complicated subject for me. There's a number of movies that I really enjoy.
By the
watching.
way, Komin, we're gonna be talking about movies. So if you can bring up the picture of the movie to share.
Yeah,
that would be really great, so people can see a picture of what this movie is.
So, I'll tell you a couple genres that I like.
Okay.
By far, my favorite genre is horror.
Oh man, I hate horror movies. I can't do horror movies.
I love it so much.
No,
I love horror movies.
No.
Ghost movies, demon movies, spirits, like any supernatural.
Okay, paranormal is okay, but I can't do horror movies.
I don't like murder films. But I love horror.
Okay.
So that's like number one for me.
Is there a difference between murder and horror films?
Yeah. So like murder, I think of like Saw, like gore films.
Okay,
I don't
gory
like
films.
those.
You don't like gory films?
No.
Okay.
But so I love horror. Number two, crime dramas.
Crime dramas. Okay.
Like I'm talking about The Departed.
Oh, The Departed is a great movie.
Departed.
Okay. Yeah, Komin, you have to bring up The Departed.
So The Departed is, in my opinion, the perfect movie. It is
really
hands down my favorite film of all time.
Really?
Yes.
That makes me very proud because it's a Boston movie.
Oh yeah, you got Marky Mark in it.
Yeah, Marky Mark, yeah.
Marky Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's The Departed about?
Okay. So The Departed, I mean, it's kind of hard to see from like the poster, but it's got the two main characters in the front, so I want to talk about them. So these guys are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Right? It's a story about two cops. But here's the thing. You have one guy who grew up from a crime family. One guy who grew up from like kind of like the stereotypical like upper... Yeah, so he grew up from like a stereotypical upper middle class family. And the crime family guy like wants to be a cop. This guy wants to be a cop. This guy like barely gets into the police force. And the other guy is like the all-star champion of the police force, right? Like everybody loves this guy. He's breaking all these records. He's like the star guy.
Yeah.
And they both live double lives.
Yeah.
Right? So the guy who gets recruited by the police force becomes a mole in the crime family.
A mole?
A mole is like a person who's like undercover.
An informant.
An informant. There we go. They've got Arthur's true accent.
I just want to say, I love this movie because, let me tell you, one of my favorite actors is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
One of my other favorite actors is Matt Damon. And it's in Boston.
Yeah.
Which is like where I'm from. And DiCaprio is not originally from Boston, but Matt Damon's originally from Boston.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is. He's originally from Boston.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, what's the first movie that he did is Good Will Hunting. That takes place in Boston too.
Fair enough,
he wrote
fair
that
enough.
with Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
But the thing that I like about that movie is, like you said, it's two people. They have these secret lives and they're trying to hide their lives, but then they both get exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really beautiful film that it kind of addresses like it from face value. It's really fun because it's action packed and it's suspenseful.
Yeah.
And there's so many twists in the film.
Yeah.
That it's like you're just getting surprised by things over and over, and it's so fun to watch. Yeah. But when you look at it a level deeper, you start looking at it because Leo DiCaprio is kind of like the main character.
Yeah.
There's Matt Damon's also kind of a main character, but he's like the sub main character.
Yeah, he's a sub main character,
Right. So you're really following Leo DiCaprio for most of the film, and he's like the good guy in the film, right? He's the guy who's the mole in the crime family, right?
Yeah.
And as you're watching the film, you slowly realize that despite him being the good guy, it's like you kind of start realizing that he's not getting out of there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't, even if you're a cop and you're undercover trying to like do good, you're still doing bad things and you're still stuck in this horrible underworld.
Yeah.
And there's really no way out.
Yeah, I think this is a really good movie to look at for as far as like crime organizations in the United States. But then also one thing that this video also this movie talks about that's not really picked up a lot in more modern movies is like the race relations between like people who are considered white now, because you have the Italian mafia, you have the Irish mafia, and you have like other people too in there, you know? And it's funny because like my grandfather's Greek, and there was no Greek mafia, but they helped kind of everyone a little bit, and he was, we could talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so you kind of see a part of America that people don't really show there. But what's another movie that you really like that's kind of impactful for you?
So another movie, and I think if you're somebody who's trying to understand like Western humor, I think this would be a good film.
Yeah.
And this movie is Snatch.
I've never heard of that movie.
You haven't seen Snatch?
No.
It's a Guy Ritchie film, if you know Guy Ritchie.
Well, let's see. She's gonna bring it up. So Komi, you can just do Google Gazo Kensaku and just, you don't have to click on the link. You can just bring this up. Is that the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So click on the migi shita no yatsuをクリックしていただいて, and then we could just leave it like that.
Yeah. So this is a British film, and this is also a crime drama.
Okay.
But it's in a comedic sense.
Okay.
And so basically you have a guy who works in the underworld fixing boxing matches, right? And he ends up screwing up one of the fixes because he recruits this like caravaner, which is like, well, caravan's like the British term for motorhome. And he's like this caravaner Irishman that's like living out in the sticks.
Yeah.
In England. And he recruits this guy, and this guy doesn't follow the rules, right? And he was supposed to get knocked out by this guy, but ends up beating the guy. And because of that, he gets all like the main character and himself and like all the good guys in trouble from this crime lord, right? And so the rest of the movie is like trying to fix the problem. And then like this character from New York comes in and hires this assassin to like kill like the people involved and like get his money back. And there's like all these characters coming in, and it's another crime drama, but it's a comedy. Yeah. At the same time, dude, you would love this film.
Yeah,
you
it sounds really good.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is a British film, and one of the things that you will immediately notice in British humor, probably even more so than American humor, is sarcasm.
Sarcasm, yeah.
Like that is something British people are known for. Yeah. Right? And this film is dripping in sarcasm. And I know that sarcasm is something that's not, I think a lot of people hear when they're trying to like watch English like media. Yeah. It's not something that like a lot of people really pick up on. So I think if you're wanting to watch a film or if you're wanting to like learn what sarcasm is, this film is perfect for learning that, because like a lot of the sarcasm is just so over the top.
Yeah, right.
That it's easy to pick up on.
That's like, so British humor is really known for being like deadpan sarcastic, where they say these outrageous things that just, I mean, it's funny because I feel like American humor is very sarcastic in interpersonal relationships, but you don't see that sarcasm so much in movies. Yeah. But in Britain, you see that a lot in movies. Yeah.
Like I'll give you one example. So so Guy Ritchie, all his movies kind of end up being very similar, because like you have Snatch, and he has another movie called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and it's basically all the actors from Snatch. It's like they're all in the movie, and it's basically the same movie, but the story's a little different. Right? And so basically in this story, you have main character, side character, boss, and then two completely random idiots. And that's like how Guy Ritchie makes his movies. Yeah. Right? And so in this movie, you have these two random idiots. Like I said, the main character is booking fixed boxing matches, right? These idiots go over to the bookie for the boxing match and try to rob it. Right? These guys aren't related to anybody else. They're just like two guys who are like, they have a lot of money. Let's do it, right? And so they go to rob this place, but they don't realize the guns that they bought from like this other guy are fake guns. They're too stupid to know that the guns are fake. Right? So they run up to the bookie, and this bookie's this like hardened lady who's just doesn't put up with anything. And she just looks at them and like, you guys are fucking idiots. Man. Like, you know, and these guys try to rob it, and she's trying to explain that because the fixed boxing match didn't go the way that it was supposed to, there's no money. Right? And so the rest of the film, these guys are just trying to get money because now they're indebted to another guy. And like, it's just like increasingly problem after problem gets stacked on all these characters. And it's so good, man.
It's funny. That really sounds really British, but I think I'd love it. You know, awesome. We are right in the middle of talking about all these movies we like. We talked about Home Alone a little bit too long. But we are at like the 30-minute mark, which is for most people. But the thing is, we're having such a good time. I think we need to do a part 2 to this, where we talk about more movies.
We haven't really talked about what you like, man.
So we'll do that.
It's been me talking this whole time.
You know, but I do like The Departed. The Departed. That was a great movie. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about movies that we like in the next episode. So I mean, we talked a little bit now, but we're gonna get more details, specific movies next time. Great.